Joining us to look at this matter of asset declaration and the Code of Conduct Bureau Act and capacity is Jerry Egemba, a legal practitioner. He joins us from our Abuja studios. Good morning and thanks for joining us. And well, it all started by a whole lot of talk about asset declaration, which the president and the vice president started by publicly declaring their assets. And now we're getting to hear a lot of call that so many others should go public. Tell us your thinking when the president and the vice president went public with their declaration.
Yeah, thank you very much, presenter. I must commend them for doing that because that is in the spirit of the Constitution. Anyone who aspires to govern us must prepare to bring himself to the public glare and allow the people to assess him, but vis-a-vis his performance against the background of the constitutional provisions that govern the office, as well as other acts of the National Assembly that are new. So it's a good thing, and I think Nigerians actually received it with good ovation, and that should serve as an encouragement to all public officers to be willing and ready always to bring themselves to the public glare so that whatever they had done before may be known, what they are doing in office may also be known, and then what they'll be doing after the office will also be known, without leaving anything to any form of conjecture or speculations. So now that I've gone public, I'm sure what Nigerians will be doing now is to study the declaration. And then probably those who have different kinds of information or different kinds of knowledge about what they have declared may either commend them, or if you have anything against it, for instance, if you discover or think that they are failed to declare any of their assets or liabilities, then it is the responsibility of Nigerians to bring out that so that they may also address it in the spirit of the Constitution and the Code of Conduct Bureau and Tribunals Act, 2004.
How do you expect Nigerians to bring out some of these things that haven't been declared by public officers if they don't go public? Is there a way that anyone can activate that?
Well, of course, in the first instance, Nigerians are under a moral duty to cry out when a public officer fails to abide by the constitutional provisions. For instance, if the president had not declared his asset, every Nigerian is entitled to go to air and ask why. And if possible, write letter to ask why the constitution has not been complied with. But now that they have done it, then the expectations of Nigerians will shift to now scrutinizing what has been declared to see if it's in line with the Constitution and the applicable acts. And if they are, well, that's it. It means that they have started well. And the expectation should be that they will end well as well.
Well, quite a number of people say that the Constitution is pretty clear in terms of what it demands, that the president and his vice must declare their assets before taking their oath of office. It did not talk about publicly declaring your assets. All it spoke about is declaring your assets to the Code of Conduct Bureau, which must be done before they take their oath of office. But, you know, when it comes to other other public office holders, they have said it's not exactly compulsory that they declare their assets publicly.
Well, as a matter of fact, the Constitution does not require that they do so publicly, like you have observed. But if you have nothing to hide and to secure more credibility for yourself and to demonstrate impeccability, transparency, honesty, and you are sure there is no encumbrance attached and no skeleton in your cupboard, you can take the extra mile of declaring so publicly. In any case, why would somebody be afraid to declare his asset publicly? Even though the law stops short of demanding that that be done. But in the spirit of the high level of morality and transparency, openness in governance, because every public officer must bring himself back. I mean, if you have aspired to be a public officer.
But sorry to interrupt you, sir, but isn't there a reason why the Constitution stops short of asking public officers to declare it publicly?
Well, maybe issues of security and incidental matters. I don't think there's anything further than that. Yes. So, and of course, like I said, there's a law, the Bureau and the Tribunals Act that is applicable. It has provided what the public officers ought to do. Yes, so it's all in the interest of the public officer. And to present yourself as more credible and more open. I mean, what's wrong with doing that? Even though the law has not required that you do so. Well, like I said, security reasons. You know, in Nigeria, security has always been a very fundamental issue.
Well, some people will say that, you know, if we're asking public officers to go public with their asset declaration forms, it also means that we have very little faith in the ability of the Code of Conduct Bureau to do what it ought to do.
I do not agree with that at all. I do not subscribe to that. That does not at all detract from the responsibility placed on the Bureau and the Tribunal. It does not. But it has to do with the person himself who is involved. How do you want Nigerians to see you? Because if you're talking about the asset declaration as presented to the Bureau, it's known to the Bureau, and maybe whoever may be interested in inquiring from the Bureau. But we're talking about making it public. It's accessible now to virtually all Nigerians who may wish to take interest in assessing your performance in government. Who probably may be in that. They probably may not know where this man we elected, who is he really. They will begin to understand you better when you go public. And in the present time when a lot of public officers, elected public officers will tell you, I maintain an open door policy. I run an open government. Well, it becomes part of justification or credence lent to that claim for you to declare your assets publicly. It depends on how the person involved really wants to be understood by Nigerians. If you want to restrict yourself to the provisions of the law, well, you have not committed any crime by doing so. But if you want to present yourself as taking further steps beyond the provisions of the law so that Nigerians may know that this is who you are, well, what stops you from doing that?
I want to take it, allow me to take it from where Mark Bell left off, because the argument here is about the capacity that we have seen from the Code of Conduct Bureau. Till this very moment, from the Code of Conduct Bureau, we haven't seen the agency do an analysis or go public, if at all they've gotten the permission from the president and the vice to let people in on what exactly they have declared. They say they are yet to confirm and verify some of this. Do you think they have the capacity to go the whole hog, knowing full well that now we just saw the Senate president on national television talking about matters that should have been sorted out while even in his second or first term in office? Why should we wait till a certain number of years before we unveil, if at all they're correct, some allegations making the rounds?
Yeah, thank you very much. I think if you're talking about the competence of the Bureau and the Tribunal, I have a view that they probably have not exercised the rights, the powers, the authorities given to them under the law thus far. They have not told us what their predicament is. But Nigerians are free to interpret that to mean that they are incompetent. But I think the problem is that there are a lot of political issues involved, there are a lot of political considerations. But they ought to live beyond those political considerations, beyond personal interests. and perform their public duty in such a manner that Nigerians will be very satisfied with them. I agree that so far they have not lived up to their expectation. Like something that happened in 2003. You didn't do anything about that. You're bringing it up now. It shows a whole lot of laxity. And of course, Nigerians will be even free to interpret that to mean some ulterior motive. They are free to do so, because if you are free to do what you're supposed to do at the time you're supposed to do it, you present yourself in a manner that people now should begin to x-ray you. Because, I mean, what's the essence of waiting for this number of years before you now take measures to prosecute an offender in 2010? For me, I can't understand it. Yeah, and I don't want to go beyond maybe simply say maybe it's laxity on their part or failure to perform their duty. Maybe I stop there. But I tell you, there's more to it.